Alright, guys, again welcome back to this next video on a Spring Boot playlist, and I'm very excited again to see you here on this next video on a Spring Boot playlist. This is a complete playlist on Spring Boot, and if you are interested in Spring Boot for developing backend REST APIs, I guess this is the right playlist to follow. It is arranged from lesson 1 to the last lesson, and by the time you complete the last lesson you should be having a complete application which you can deploy and be able to show it somewhere to show that this is a product you have built. So otherwise, without wasting time, let us go in straight to this the content of this particular video. And in this particular video we are going to just demonstrate how to create and install and set up our environment so that we can get ready. In the next lesson we start implementing this project and learning all these concepts. So guys, if you have not watched video 1 and video 3 and 4, I would request you go back and watch 1 and 2 so that you can be able to reconnect with these subsequent lessons so that you cannot fall out of the content. So just a recap of what we did in the previous lesson, lesson 3. Let me present the screen. So we covered lesson 1, and then we also covered lesson 2. Let me navigate to lesson 2, and then in lesson 2 we looked at this diagram, and then we covered lesson 3 where we demonstrated the kind of project that we're going to build. And then we said that this is the sample project that we are going to build, and then we demonstrated this is what we are going to build at the end of the lesson. As we build this project, we shall be covering the following concepts related to Spring Boot, and then at the end of the day we will be able to have our application deployed. So in this particular video, I want us to ensure that we have set up our environment and we are ready to build the application. If you have not installed all the tools, then you can follow me on this video step by step so that we can have all the tools installed and get ready to start implementing our project. So the first prerequisite that you will need to have a basic understanding of Java programming language. And if you don't have that, I can go to the video description and click on this link so that you can learn the basics of Java before you can start building Spring Boot, because then the concept will fall out. You will not be able to understand because Spring Boot is a framework of Java. So this is the link to the Java tutorial. You can visit here. There is good resources here where you can learn. And then you may need also to have understanding of the Spring framework, at least overview of what a Spring framework is. This is a framework on top of which Spring Boot was built. Spring Boot is actually a Spring, but now it enables us to out-configure so that we can have our application to build automatically and bootstrap from without having to configure all these necessary XML configurations. Alright, and then also you will need to install the JDK, either version or one of these versions, 18, 17 or 18, and this is the link to download the JDK. After you download, you just double click on that .exe file and ensure that you have installed the JDK, and we are going to demonstrate that now. And then you also need to start understanding the dependency management system. We are going to use, for our case, we are going to use Maven dependency, but at some point we will also demonstrate how to use Gradle, and it is good to have understanding of these two management systems. These are the dependency management system which will enable us to download and manage all the dependency for our Spring Boot application. Alright, and then we will be using the IntelliJ IDE for writing our code. So you are also free to use any other IDE. For example, you can use Spring STS, or you can use maybe NetBeans, but for our case here we will advise you use the same ID. IntelliJ, it is a good very nice ID, and for the sake so that you can all be on the same page. So this is the link which I will also put on the description, and then you can click on it to download and install this tool. And then we are also going to use MySQL database for demonstrating database connection, and this is the link to download and install MySQL database. And sometimes before you install MySQL database, you will need to install the Visual Studio C++, Visual Studio C++ from Microsoft. So sometimes it will require you to install that first before you install the MySQL database. And then we are going, as we have said in the previous video, that we are going to demonstrate, we are going to use a postman client to make requests to our application. So then we will need to download the postman so that we can have it on a computer and use it to send the request and receive the response from our application, from our backend application. So these are the tools that you need to have at least a minimum before we start with the next video and the next lesson, which is creating our first Spring Boot application. So maybe to demonstrate that concept, I will go, let me copy this link so that I can demonstrate how you can install all these tools. So you want to install JDK, you just copy the link of this JDK and go to your browser. Here for me I'm using Chrome, but let me open Edge, I prefer using that. So I'm going to paste that URL, and you can see that here you are provided with this page where you can download the JDK. So when you want to download, you come and choose your operating system. If you're using Linux, you can download any of these files. Me, I'm using Windows, so you can click either you download the installer or you download the archive file. It is better to download the installer, so you click on this link and then it is going to download. And then after that, you just go to your download file and double click on that .exe file and start installing the JDK. And then also, if you want to install the next tool, which is the IntelliJ, just copy this link and then go to your browser, paste that link, and you will be able to install the JDK. So I'm going to open a new tab and paste the link, and then I'm going to have this page here. So you can see you have two options of IntelliJ, the ultimate version, which is paid version. However, it has 30-day trial. That is if you want that, but for our case we are going to use the community version. So you click on download and it is going to download the tool, and after downloading you just double click, as you can see it is downloading. So after it downloads, you just double click on that .exe file and you are going to install that. For my case, I'm going to cancel because I already have IntelliJ installed. And then the same thing to download the MySQL database. This will be the URL. This URL I'll also put them on the description link so that you can be able to install them, to click on them and install these respective tools. So you click and you're going to have your MySQL interface here. So you can click on download and you're going to have MySQL package downloaded. And then after that, you're going to double click to install, to follow the instructions and install the MySQL database server. It comes together with the MySQL workbench, which you can use to access your database. And then the same thing with installing the Postman client. This is the URL, which I'll also put on the video description. So here you can also go to the page and open a new tab, and you're going to click there, and this is the page you're going to get. And here you can click if you are using Windows 64-bit or any other operating system. So you can click on that and you're going to have the IntelliJ, the Postman downloaded. And then after download, you just double click and follow the instructions to have the tool installed. Alright guys, this is all the tools that we need to start writing our code and to start implementing our Spring Boot application. Otherwise, if you find any, in case of any challenge or question, just post it in the comment section and we will be able to help you. So that's all I want to post this video here, and thanks for watching the content. And if you find it useful, please consider maybe sharing it with a friend to enable spread this content and knowledge. So in the next video, we will start implementing our first Spring Boot project and see how does it work. Otherwise, thanks for watching and see you in the next video. And this is going to be a very amazing playlist, and we're going to have a Spring Boot application at the end of this and have it deployed. Otherwise, thanks and see you there.